How is everyone today? Good? Not good? Good? Everyone's good? Sure? I'm not hearing enthusiasm. Sun is shining. Warm weather is coming. Hare Krishna. How are you, brother? Happy belated birthday. So, we are reading today 31st verse, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
31? Okay. Someone would like to read the verse? Chapter 3, 31. Verse 31. And I think 32.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purpose. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive actions. But an ordinary man with a firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such order, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord. But because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness.
Okay. Let's read the next verse.
But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. Purport. The flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated herein. As there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Executive Head, so there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however great he may be, is ignorant of his own self and of the Supreme Brahma, Paramatma, and the personality of the Godhead due to a vacant heart. Therefore there is no hope of perfection of life for him.
Okay. So Krishna is giving two scenarios here. Right? One who follows and one who does not. So actually, every day we wake up, we have only two choices. Either I can choose to follow the injunctions of the Lord, or I can choose not to. Whose choice is it? Our choice. It is always our choice. That is the free will. So one is to make... So when we are faced with two decisions, how do I decide whether to do action A or action B? How do I decide? Which is good for us. And if I have between two, I'll compare, right? Which is more good. Right? So in this verse, in the 31st verse, Krishna says, what happens if we follow the injunctions of the Lord? What is the result? Free from the bondage of fruitive actions. So what is the fruitive actions bondage? What is that? What am I becoming free from? Huh? Birth, death. What else? Birth, death, disease, old age. And Adhyatmic. So these are all the miseries, the difficulties. Anybody enjoys old age? Disease? Anybody's looking forward to death? So, how many people in the world are desiring to become free of these results? All of you? What about everywhere else we go? We go out down the street and we ask, my dear sir, my dear madam, would you like to be free from old age, disease, difficulties of the body, mind, living entities, natural disasters, free of all difficulties? How many people are searching for this? Huh? Everyone? Everyone? Nobody is not searching for this? Huh?
They're not thinking of it.
They are not thinking.
They're not thinking?
Yeah, they're not thinking of the future. Just present.
But even in the present moment, what is their desire?
Yeah.
To be happy. And to be free of misery. Right? Anybody woke up today wanting to be unhappy? You've never heard me ask that, right? Right? So actually every day, every living entity wakes up wanting to find this perfection. So we all have the same goal. Whether you're a spiritualist, whether you're an atheist, whether you're agnostic, whatever your belief system is, the goal is the same. To find this perfection. So now Krishna has given this injunction. But what is the flip side? So if you follow, you'll become free from the bondage of fruitive activities. Bondage means we become bound to all of these reactions. And what happens if we do not follow? What is the result? Something better or worse? What is it?
Doing their endeavor for perfection.
Ruined in their endeavor for perfection. So, we have two results, right? Which result do we want? We want ruined endeavor for perfection or free from all miseries of life? So what's the problem then? Krishna says, just follow my injunctions. We have experience in verse 32. How many of our endeavors for perfection have actually manifested? Have we been endeavoring for perfection at least this whole lifetime? Trying? Actually, we've been trying for millions of lifetimes. And have we found it? Anybody has found it?
No.
You ask 1,000 people, how many of you are 100% happy? Anybody honestly answering? Raise their hand. So everyone in their endeavor has ended with this outcome. So where is the flaw in the system? What is the problem? What is the source of this failed endeavor?
Not following, not following the cause principles.
Not following the injunctions of Krishna. It is simple. It is black and white. We search for so many other reasons. Let me fill my bank account a little bit more, then I'll get it. Let me get, one more vehicle in my driveway, then I'll get it. Let me get one stamp on my visa, then I'll get it. Let me get one nice child, one nice this, one nice that, one. That has been our understanding. But has any of it resulted in accomplishment of perfection? So the injunction is clear. So what is the instruction of Krishna? We have to go to the prior verse. So now we know if we follow the injunctions of Krishna, what happens? And if we don't follow? Is there any in between? Any option C? Simple. Very simple. So what is the injunction of Krishna? Let us remember. This is stated in the 30th verse, right? So what is the injunction of Krishna? What should we do?
Surrendering all our works.
Surrendering all of our works
Full knowledge.
with full knowledge.
Without disease for profit. No claims of hypocrisy. And also free from lethargy.
So this 30th verse is like the summary of this whole chapter. Now, how many of us want to surrender all the fruits of our work? I work very, very hard, but I don't get any of the fruits. Anybody wants to sign up for that program? I don't want to sign up for that program. Right? So, this in lies the problem. The formula is so simple. Work, surrendering all the fruits to Krishna, and that is following the injunction, perfection. So now I said we have 2 choices every day. We can elevate that to actual 2 choices. Either I can work for Krishna, or I can work for myself. Those are my 2 options. Either I work for Krishna, or I work for myself. Because working for Krishna is the injunction of Krishna. He says, you surrender all the fruits to me. Right? Now, we must see, Krishna is very clever. Supremely intelligent, of course. He's the all-knowing. So if we now get into detail of this 31st verse, he says you must execute the injunctions, but he gives some conditions on how we should follow. There are 2 conditions given. What are they? Faithfully, without envy. So let's understand these 2 characters of how we can work with Krishna. Prabhupada writes very nicely in the purport about faith. And he talks about envy. So what is envy? What is envy?
Hatred.
Hatred. It results in hatred, yes. Envy means that ultimately we have hatred of somebody. And what is the specific mood when we have envy of somebody that manifests in this dvesha, this hatred? Desire for?
Desire for something and you don't get it or
You should not have, I should have.
What?
Whatever things, material things.
Okay.
Having a displeasant feeling which others have and we don't possess the same.
So this displeasant feeling that somebody has something that I don't have. And what is my specific desire then in envy?
I want to possess something.
I want it. That's, jealousy. So you have a nice iPhone. Oh, I want a nice iPhone like that. That's jealousy. But envy is one step further. Very evil. What is it? It takes it one step further. So I want the iPhone, and
Others shouldn't have.
others should not have. actually I get more pleasure in the other not having than in my own possession. This is envy. And we see envy, sadly, amongst people who are closest. We may have jealousy of others broadly, but when it comes to our intimate circle, that is where envy manifests. Two children, they have envy of the mother's love. Right? So what do? They try to sabotage. See what he did? Right? This happens. Siblings have this mood often. So this envy is very destructive because it ends in hatred. And the hatred leads to no good experience for us or for the other party. So when Krishna says, surrender all the fruits of your work to me, what is the feeling in our heart?
We do the work and
Yeah.
someone else enjoys.
Why? I do the work and he gets to enjoy. Right? It's a natural feeling. Why? I have to do all the work and God gets to enjoy everything. This, in essence, is envy. Because who is the proprietor of everything? What did we come into this world with? Nothing? Not even the shirt on our back? We came into this world with nothing. And what are we going to take with us in our suitcase when we leave? No checked baggage? Nothing. So between point A and point B, when we say this is mine, who's mine? Is it really mine? I'm simply using someone else's resources. And who is the ultimate proprietor of everything? Why is he the ultimate proprietor? Why is Krishna the proprietor? He's the creator. He's the cause of all. He provisioned everything. We know we didn't. At least we all can agree we didn't equip this world with all the facilities that we are enjoying. The sunlight, the fresh air, the water we drink to nourish the body, the soils we use to grow the foods that we eat, even the seeds that we use to plant the various vegetables that we eat. None of that we brought. So we are certainly enjoying someone else's resources, someone else's provisions. At least at that minimum, we can understand. Now the intelligent will try to figure out who is the source of all those provisions. So Krishna is saying that it's free of sense of proprietorship. Because this sense of proprietorship is what says, why I should give to you, Krishna, what's mine. But what is mine? Nothing. So this envy we must rid ourselves of. And we have practical experience of this relationship. We have very practical experience of this relationship. I always bring it down to this example because we can relate to it. Right? Surrendering the fruits of all my work to somebody else, free of envy, with full faith. That seems like an impossible dynamic, right? But actually we all have experienced it. How? In our childhood. when we're in childhood in the home, whose possessions are we enjoying? When I say this is in my room, and in my room are my things, but who has given me my things? Huh? Parents. Mother and father has given. Now, a obedient child knows that this has been given by mother and father. For them to enjoy, of course. But a respectful child has that understanding and never thinks, hey, this is mine, not yours. Will a respectful child ever stop mother or father from touching one of their items? No. Because they know who gave. And in the home, if this child surrenders all of their things to mother and father, who wins in that equation? How does child win? He just gave everything up to mother and father. He is empty-handed now. They give more. Why do they give more? The affection or love. Because child is showing with great knowledge and understanding. Does parents want child to be free and separated from the things they are enjoying? No. In fact, what is the only desire of parents? To see child happy. If parent has the option between their happiness and child's happiness, which they'll choose? Ever they'll choose opposite? We have knowledge of this. So our relationship with Krishna is what? What are we in relation to Krishna? We are children. He is our Supreme Father. Aham bijaha pradaha pita. He is our Supreme Father. So now when Krishna says, you give all the fruits of your work to me, does it sound so far-fetched? Actually, he says, give up your sense of proprietorship. We know that when we surrender to our maintainer, then we actually become maintained. Understand this point. When we surrender to our maintainer, then we become maintained. If I am stuck in a dark well, and I'm holding on to the walls so I don't fall deeper into the well, and one rope comes to pull me out, if I surrender my position of holding onto the walls and hold on to this rope, what happens? I emerge from this dark well. I am surrendering to my Savior. But if I don't, what happens? I stay in the well. And whose choice is it? It's not. Krishna is our maintainer. Complete 100% maintainer. We cannot even take a single breath without the blessing of Krishna. Any of you are able to control the breath, taking the oxygen, inserting it into the bloodstream, delivering it to all the cells in the body to make the cells fire its different activities? Any of you can do this? None of us can. But Krishna does it. Krishna does it. And just as a child should never forget for a moment who is maintaining him in the home, we should never forget for a moment who is maintaining for us. So in this light, is following Krishna's injunction so difficult? In fact, if we don't follow this injunction and just do what we want, to each his own, act independently, is that any different than a child telling mother and father, you stay away from me and all my things and let me enjoy and don't tell me what to do? Would we consider that good behavior? Would we consider that something we want to do ourselves? But if we don't follow the injunction of Krishna, is that not what we are doing? We are simply telling Krishna, thank you for giving him everything, but I'm good. I don't need you. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but that's the reality. So our choice every day either is to acknowledge who is providing for me and work in that relationship. And when I do, what is the result? What is the result? Which child enjoys more in the home? He who is or she who is following and obedient, or who is disrespecting and disobedient? Which child ends up enjoying more? Always. The disobedient child thinks, I will enjoy more in my disobedience. But in the end, we know the result. So just as Prabhupada says, when we disobey the orders of the land, if I'm disobedient to the laws of Rochester, will I enjoy? Huh? If I disobey the orders of the state of Michigan, the country of the United States of America, will I enjoy? Then how can we think that we can enjoy if we disobey the orders of God, of Krishna? How is it possible? How is it possible? It's not. But the flip side is also very clear. To enjoy, it's so easy. So simple. Prabhupada writes in the purport, what does it require in the 31st purport? What does it require for us to follow the injunction of the Lord? So we say without envy, but also with faith. Do we have to be perfect in our execution? No. Does the child have to be perfect in the home? What is mother and father looking for from that child? Sincerity. Effort. Sincerity. Love. That's it. If child spills the milk on the floor, is parent going to be angry? Child is trying. Okay, that's sufficient. So what does Krishna require from us? Perfect execution of his injunctions? Perfect knowledge of all Shastra? Perfect application? Is that what he expects of us? What does he expect of us? Huh? Sincere effort. And where does sincere effort result from?
Desire.
And where does desire come from?
Honesty.
Huh?
Honesty.
What does Krishna say here?
Faithful.
Faith. Faith. If I have faith that on Friday employer will give paycheck, then on Monday I come to work. Tuesday, I come to work. Nothing happened after Monday. Nothing happened after Tuesday. But why do I come back Wednesday? Because I have faith that on Friday, paycheck will come. So what is the power of faith? It leads to action. When I have faith, I will act. And when I don't do, what am I missing? The instructions are clear as day. Perfection, follow the injunctions of Krishna. Don't follow, ruin for perfection. But why, after leaving this Sangha today, will I not 100% go and follow the injunctions of Krishna? What is holding me back? Faith. Because if I had faith in this injunction, it becomes easy. So how do I know if I have faith in this knowledge? What is my measure of faith in this knowledge? How do I show my faith in the workplace that paycheck will come on Friday? How am I showing my faith? By my actions. If I'm showing up on Monday, showing up on Tuesday, showing up on Wednesday, showing up on Thursday. If I speak, I have faith, but then I don't show up on Monday, I don't show up on Tuesday. I'm speaking with full, firm faith, but I don't show up on Wednesday. Do I have faith? So where is faith demonstrated? In action. In action. In action. Faith in knowledge results in a change in action. If doctor tells to me, my dear sir, you're going to die if you don't stop eating this. If I continue eating whatever this is, it means I don't have faith in that instruction. Simple. But if I stop, my actions change, then it means I have faith. So faith is not about words. It is about our actions. So when knowledge changes our actions, that means we have faith in that knowledge. We have faith in that knowledge. So why Krishna says the persons who execute these injunctions, my injunctions, he says, faithfully and without envy. So we must be free of envy. Stop wondering, why you, Krishna, why not me? Just as any sane, logical child would never question, mother, father, why you get to make all the rules and I don't? Of course, in our defiance, we have that sentiment. But as we mature, we realize that was foolish. So the same. Child doesn't have envy of mother and father. We should never have envy of Krishna. And we should have faith when mother and father says, study and go to school. Do things that we don't like to do. But we still do it. Because we have some faith. So when Krishna says, you work and surrender the fruits to me, what should we do? Work and surrender the fruits to Krishna. And we should do it with great faith. Because in the home, who knows what's best for child? Child or parent? And as a child, we are convinced we knew better. Right? But we know, actually, who knows better? So who knows what's better for us? Us or Krishna? Any doubt? So this is what can fuel our faith. Krishna says this, we do it. But of course, pratyaksham vagamam. He says, Rajavidya Rajaguyam, this king of knowledge. One of the beauties of this king of knowledge is you can experience the results. That by following this, by surrendering the fruits, one can tangibly, not some theoretical exercise of hope in the future, but right in front of us, you can experience the results of following these injunctions. Krishna doesn't make us wait until perfection. And that's why Srila Prabhupada writes that as long as one is with faith, pursuing and practicing, he says, even if they are not doing so good, he says, he'll surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. It means one will reach perfection eventually. So we do not need to search out for perfection in execution. What do we need to search out for? What do we need to have strongly? Faith. Faith. Don't worry about your imperfections, your misqualifications. Worry about why I'm not doing this. Why? I make up all kinds of reasons. It's my faith. And if we do, we'll find perfection of life. And if we don't, we know that result as well. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comments, questions, discussion we can have?
Guruji,
Yes.
what should be the yardstick for determining the faith? Whether it should be a blind faith or a consciously driven faith as a beginner?
No, Krishna says very clearly that you should not have blind faith. You should have informed faith. We should inquire and acknowledge information, get information, and inform our faith. Because then our faith becomes strong. So Krishna never suggests that, hey, you just do and don't ask why. And how do we know that? What is this whole dialogue in Bhagavad Gita? Go to the beginning of this chapter. What is in the very beginning of this chapter? What is the first verse of this chapter? So what is Arjuna doing? Questions. He's inquiring. Krishna has just spoken the whole contents of the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter. Right? Second chapter, he gave the whole overview of everything. And Arjuna then, what did he do? Ask a question. You go to the fifth chapter, he'll ask a question. Seventh chapter, ask a question. Eighth chapter, ask a question. Repeatedly throughout Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking questions. So our faith should not be blind. But we must, atato brahma jignasa. Now that we have come to this human form of life, we must inquire. We must ask questions. And inform our faith. Because then our faith will become strong. So we should be informed, not blind. Spirituality is not about taking it and just know questions. Actually, all Shastra enthuses this mood of asking and inquiring to exhaust the demons of the doubt. Otherwise, these doubts will haunt us. Okay? Any other questions, comments?
Sometimes we have faith, but at times we'll be in a blissful mode to do the Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we'll fall down. Is that our senses are so strong that they take over the faith?
Yeah, if we... Material attachments, Maya Devi is very strong. we have different levels of faith. In the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Uttama Adhikari, these different levels of bhakti, devotion. In the Kanishta Adhikari, the faith is pliable. It means it can be swayed. Our faith is malleable. We must mature to the point where that faith becomes unbreakable. No matter what comes in contact with, our faith will not break. That is so we have to recognize that we have some faith. Why else we would all come here tonight? So many options we have for activities. Why we came? We have some faith that this is good for us. Right? So we have faith. We can celebrate that. But our faith is still, as you said, it's soft. And we want to work to firm that faith. How do we firm and solidify our faith? By practicing our spiritual path, by chanting the holy names, by surrendering to Guru, by surrendering to Shastra. Our faith will solidify. And Krishna will test our faith. It is not a test of faith to trick us. But Krishna will test our faith. And when we pass that test, that experience of spiritual bliss exponentially grows. Because we have overcome some challenge, right? Like we appreciate something when we've had some challenge to obtain it. You know? Prabhupada gives the example that palatable foods, nice prasadam, it is very relishable to somebody who's extremely hungry. If you are very full, then these palatable foods will not be as pleasing. Right? That's the nature of this situation. So Krishna, he'll test our faith. And when we overcome that test, pass that test, our experience grows even further. And that is why, great devotees like Queen Kunti, she prays, right? What? Give me these calamities, these challenges. Look at the life of Srila Prabhupada. He was faced with so many obstacles and challenges. But the result of that was, it just enthused his surrender to Krishna. The devotee remembers that if things continue going so swimmingly well, what will happen? I will start to think, oh, I am doing this. Oh, how good I am doing. So Krishna reminds us with an occasional slap and says, my dear child, remember who is doing. These are great reminders for us. We should embrace them, actually. Because without it, our ego, because we are not yet purified. In the pure state, it's not rare. But we are in the impure state. So when that challenge comes, that obstacle comes, we should be grateful to Krishna. Thank you. Because when things go swimmingly, we forget who is really the doer. Prakute kriyamanani, right? We just read this verse. We think, because of ahankara, I think, kartahamiti manyate, I am the doer. So Krishna reminds, you are not the doer. It's okay?
So how do we understand this, Prabhuji? Krishna is doing that, it's not... suppose if I'm doing something wrong, so how do I say that Krishna is doing, I'm not doing? I am only the one who is doing the wrong thing.
Well, when we know we are doing wrong, it is not Krishna doing. Right? So
At least in that...
what we understand is that sometimes in devotional service, we are doing the best we can, right? But the results don't manifest. That is the proof for us that whose plan will manifest, ours or Krishna's? Always Krishna's plan. There is no such thing as failure. Why? Because only thing that fails is our plans, which are just dreams. Krishna's plans never fail. They are perfect because he is the supreme controller. So a devotee never sees failure. Yes, I may want this thing to happen, but when it doesn't happen, okay, Krishna had a better plan. There is no such thing as failure. All the devotee is concerned, did I try my best? Did I put forth my effort? That is the only failure a devotee actually experiences, is that I was negligent. I did my things inattentively. When the chapati burns on the stove, was it because I was absent-minded, I was on my phone and somebody was there and all of a sudden it burned? Or was it, I don't know how it burned. I was trying. Okay? I was trying, it burned, nothing I can do. So, the obstacles, the challenges we face is not a license for us to be irresponsible. But when we are responsible and doing our best, if it doesn't manifest, no problem. That is our surrender to help us remember, okay, Krishna's plan will happen. But when something is not happening and I know because I am not doing, then I take my personal accountability and responsibility. That I have to get better. I have to be more sincere in my execution. So we stress about our input, not the result. The result is Krishna's. All we have to worry, did I try my best? Did I sincerely put forth my effort? That is what we should evaluate. Result, that is Krishna's. Something good happens, that's his. Something bad happens, guess what? It's also his. It's very liberating actually. We don't have to have anxiety of the result. But we can't keep the good and give the bad, right? Something good happens, I did it. Something bad happens, Krishna, why you did this? This is normally our mood. All we have to worry, did I try? This is how we reconcile. Right? So if I know I'm doing bad, then that's not Krishna's plan. Make sense?
As you said, whether I am doing good or bad, is that like we need to follow the Shastra or Guru instructions?
Krishna earlier in this chapter said that I perform duty, but I have no duty to do. Krishna said that, right? He says, I perform duties, but I have no duties to do. Because duties are there, prescribed duties are there for purification. That's it. But Krishna is pure, so he has no duties to do. But why does he do it? So that others will follow. So what did Krishna do? Did he take Guru? Lord Ramchandra took Guru? Balramji took Guru? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took Guru? Our whole parampara? Why? If it's not needed, if it's not necessary, if it's an option, why? He tells us in the coming chapter, Tadvini paripatena pariprashnena sevaya upakdekshanti te yanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Can you become a doctor by watching YouTube and studying books? Can you become a doctor? You can have all the knowledge. But can you practice medicine? No. You have to go and take admission into a medical university who will grant you the training to be able to practice. Can you become an engineer just by going on YouTube, reading a few books? So to practice devotional service, we must go through the formal certification process. What is that analogy? That is Diksha. It is formally accepting a bona fide spiritual master. So it is not an option. Just like it's not an option if you want to practice medicine, it's not an option. It is required. Unless one is connected to a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot actually have the potency to practice bhakti. We are in the sampling stage. So that's the... You had a question?
We follow Krishna's injunctions very faithfully. Will it only lead us to liberation after our lifetime, or in our current life, present life also we see tangible effects?
So it's a nice question. What is liberation? It's such a word we use so much. What is this moksha? What is liberation?
Free from this material.
Huh?
Free from the material contamination.
Free from the material contamination. Specifically, it is free from Rajagun, Tamagun, and even Sattvagun. It is free from the modes of material nature. So liberation is not a geographic destination. It is not, I go from here to there. Liberation is my consciousness. Is it free from the influences of the modes of material nature? And how do I know? By my actions. Are my actions governed by the modes of nature or by Krishna? Simple. So Rupa Goswami says, Jivan Mukta. Meaning that one can become liberated instantly. Even embodied within this body, one can experience liberation. So it is not something we have to wait until we die. But you said very nicely in your question, if one performs sincerely with faith, then yes, one becomes liberated. How long it takes? It can happen instantly, depending on the degree of our faith and the sincerity of our practice. So liberation means to become free from the influences of the modes of material nature. So that is actually. So yes, it can happen still within this lifetime, within this body. And that is the Paramahamsa. They are liberated souls. They don't experience the modes of nature. We see it externally, but they don't experience this. You study the life of Srila Prabhupada, you'll see he was a Paramahamsa. He was completely transcendental to the modes of nature. You can see it right before your eyes. It's okay?
So, if we are in modes of nature, our body needs just checking as Prabhupada sleep only 2 hours a day, right? So if we are within the modes of nature, we need a rest to the body, or if we are behind the modes of nature, then it will not affect by the stress feeling all, so body doesn't need rest, right?
Not like that. Not like I become free from the modes of nature and all of a sudden I'll be able to levitate in the air. I'll be able to do all this, mystical siddhis. Not like that. It is about consciousness. I may be lying invalid in my bed, unable to move. But if my consciousness is not affected by my bodily situation, and my consciousness is still fully, squarely cemented at the lotus feet of Krishna, that is a liberated state. Yes, when one becomes empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are able to do things that are not ordinarily possible. If you study the life of Srila Prabhupada, you'll see that no mortal man has been ever able to execute what he did. It's physically impossible. It's physically impossible. And I can say this with some reasonable authority because I have studied, great business leaders and leaders all over the world in my professional life and also in my teaching work. And I've still yet to come across anyone who's even come close. And what's the explanation? It's purely the spiritual potency of the Lord. So the spiritual potency may enable these sort of things like, having no sleep, which is physically impossible for all of us. But that's not we don't measure from that perspective. We measure from the perspective of what is my consciousness. Right? Make sense?
Is all our activities or destination already decided, either due to karma or Krishna's plan that we say? So is it already decided, and will it change by what we are trying to do, like chanting or additional activities towards Krishna? Is it changing that, or it's already part of Krishna's plan already? That
If your child is misbehaving and he comes to you and says, "This is your plan, this is why I'm misbehaving," what will you say? You'll agree with that? He'll say, "You and mother made me. I grew up in your home, and I'm misbehaving because it is your plan." You'll agree with that? So, Krishna does not have a defined destiny for us. We have defined our circumstance today based on our past karma. But the actions I do today determine where I go next. My destiny is not fixed. But my current situation is fixed. I am in this body with this facilities. I cannot change that. And the example Prabhupada gives is that if I board a plane from here to LA and the plane door closed in here, now my destiny is fixed. I'm going to LA because I made this decision to enter this plane. But what I do on this plane will then take my next destiny. If I strike up some conversation with my seatmate and some nice business relationship manifests, and from that great wealth, I've altered my destiny. If on the other hand, I get into a fight with the person on my left and get into some dangerous activity, then there will be others waiting for me when the plane reaches to take me to my next destiny. So I was fixed to go to LA, but on that journey I made new decisions. And that takes me to my next step. So my destiny is not fixed. Yes, but based on my past karma, I have certain circumstances. But this idea that, I'll do when Krishna wants me to. That is like a child telling mother and father, I will behave when you want me to. Does that make any logical sense? Then how we can say that to Krishna? Yes, Krishna, I'll come to your home, the temple, when you bless me to come. What mother and father would not be ecstatic to have their child in their home? You think Krishna is not eagerly waiting for each and every one of us to come back to him? He is pained in separation. But we have forgotten. So, it is up to us. We can take all these external circumstances. I can't do this because of this reason, because of that reason, because that's all excuses. I'm sorry, that's just a reality. Because when we wanted to accomplish something in our life, we overcame so many obstacles. So many obstacles. But when it comes to Krishna, spiritual life, I should be dragged by my ear by Krishna. And He should make it easy and smooth and all obstacles removed. Well, if you pray intensely for that, that will also happen. Actually. So it's time we take personal accountability and stop ascribing external factors. It is my faith and my sincerity. So, whatever condition I'm in, Krishna says in 9th chapter, you can be the most fallen of fallen persons. And yet, you are not precluded from patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya parayachati. Krishna is so liberal. He says, no matter what your disqualification is, I don't see any of that. So don't wait for Krishna to make us qualified. He has already told us. You just do it. Just do it.
Guruji, if a destination is not fixed, then the outcome of the Mahabharata war, in terms of the result what Kauravas faced, was mainly due to the karma that they had accumulated during the process of time?
Of course. And they decided they were fighting on a side against Krishna. What was the guaranteed result? What was the guaranteed result? Where was Krishna's army in this fight? Where was the great Bhishma Pita on this fight? Bhishma Pita took that side just to show that Krishna can never be defeated. Doesn't matter what the odds are. Krishna's plan is perfect.
So, if destination is not fixed, how do we say the Kali Yuga exactly ends by some years and all those things? So, is it all driven?
That destiny is not future time. Time cycle is there. Right? So the cycle of time is there. We know 427,000 years, Kali Yuga will finish. Then Satyuga will come. Then Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, like that. That cycle is constantly moving. That is the Kal energy, the Kala Roop. That's the energy of Krishna that is pushing this time cycle.
Yeah, he's going to take it back because all these things happening, bad things happening, good things happening. Because of that, he takes it back that time, and that's when he's going to.
He appears when he wants to appear. He appears at fixed times. In the reign of the 7th Manu, in the 28th Dwapara Yuga of Vaivasvata Manu. That's when he appears. So, this question comes, if Krishna knows the future, then doesn't it mean he has already programmed me, my destiny is fixed? No. Because he knowing how we are going to make decisions in free will doesn't mean that our destiny is fixed. Krishna knows all the decisions we're going to make in the future. And if it changes, he knows it's also going to change. Because we come into Srila Prabhupada's shelter, and now I was headed in this direction, in a life full of nonsense. And now I've found real truth. And now I'm finding the real purpose of life. He also knew that change was coming. Even though we were, quote unquote, headed this way or destined for this way, to your original question, yes, you can change your destiny. How? Because Krishna says, this, I'm drawing into blank. Aham tum sarva papibhyo. He's saying the sarva dharma parityaja. If you surrender to him, he's saying aham tvam sarva papim. I'll take all your sins. What is that? Changing your destiny. You are destined to suffer these sins. And he is saying, I'm taking them away. What does that mean? It's changing your destiny. How? By surrendering to Krishna. So, he tells us, by surrendering to Krishna, yes, you may be headed in this direction. But by the influence of the mercy of the Lord and devotees. That's why your future is not fixed. You have still the free will to make better decisions and make better outcomes. And you have the free will to make bad decisions and have bad outcomes. You may be destined back home, back to Godhead. And if you think, oh, I have Guru now, I have knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, I have Bhakti Shastri, I have Brahmin thread, I am Pujari, and I make nonsense decisions, I'll also lose that. So, either way, it is in our hands to make those decisions in free will. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Shall we chant? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.